All right, guys, welcome back to Crossman Productions. Man, I'm excited, guys. Today has been a really busy day. I've started a new job, so I've been trying to get acclimated with that. So my schedule's kind of been all over the place this week, but I'm excited. I finally get to get in front of you guys again and bring in a new guest. So this guest is someone that Christy Roberts, who's everybody knows Christy Roberts is a big supporter of the show, and Chris has introduced a lot of guests from out from in Florida. We met Heather that way. We met Jonathan Montez, Jimmy Smith, Jimmy Fitz. Man, we've had a lot of awesome people out there. So last week, Chris is like, "Hey, I got a new guy. I want you to, reach out to him and get him on the show." So today I have Vintage Caban. It's Caban, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure I'm saying it right. So how's it going, brother?
It's going fantastic, brother. I just wrapped up. A third day of filming. Feeling a little tired. Been up since 7 a.m. at the gym. Other than that, it's going good.
Yeah, I was saying, Chris, man, pretty much everybody that I've interviewed out there in Florida, Heather Fraley, Jonathan Montez, Bobby Washington. Man, I'm trying to think of everybody out there. But anyway, so he's pretty much introduced the majority of them to me. Sean Proslacker, we have a ton of them out there. So
I've seen a couple episodes too.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah. I have. Yeah.
Oh, on Sean's show.
Both actually. I've seen the one with you and Sean and Chris, and
right.
The one with Jonathan Montez as well.
Okay, yeah. So I've reached out to Sean Proslacker. I reached out to him last week, so we're going to try to get him back on the show and catch up with everything he's been doing.
Awesome.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's what kind of one of the things that we have coming up. But yeah, I wanted to bring you in, kind of get to know you. So we'll start from the beginning. So let's once you introduce yourself and kind of tell our audience like where you were born and raised and what was life like for you growing up.
Well, that's a great question to ask, and I love talking a little bit about my origins. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I've lived there for about almost 8 years. So like from 1998, which was the year I was born, and then we came down to Tampa, Florida. And when I mean we, I mean my family.
Right.
My family and we came down here to Tampa, Florida in June 30th, 2005. I haven't been back to New York since. I know that it's not the same. And I know that, Tampa might be great, but looking back on it now as you're getting older, it feels like you really just want to get out of the state and do something different, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm going back to New York next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if I can get everything right. And, I can network with more people over there because I kind of want to I've been here for so long and, it's time for a new chapter.
Okay.
What I've always wanted to do was make films and act in films. I've watched a lot of films growing up. Shrek 2 being, one of my most, influences to be a filmmaker. Batman Begins as well. The Dark Knight trilogy altogether.
Right.
So the Dark Knight trilogy, Shrek 2, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, V for Vendetta. I grew up watching a lot of like late night Cartoon Network shows as a kid from Adult Swim. So that also kind of influenced me to want to get into this industry. I love the idea of playing something that you're not in real life.
Right. So, like when you were going through school, Were you doing into theater, or what kind of drew you into becoming an actor? Let me ask you first, because you're both an actor and a filmmaker. So which one came first?
Acting. Wait. No, wait. Directing. When I started out,
Right.
I wanted to direct movies.
Okay.
And then acting also became something that I really, really wanted to do too. So
Okay.
honestly, it's just both. I really wanted to do both. There really wasn't a one choice for me. It was just always both since I was like 4.
Oh,
Directing, not so much directing, but like
right.
acting. Then when I became like 10, I guess I wanted to do both. And I started doing my own things with my friends. We get together from high school and we make stuff. Um, I did take drama class in high school. I took theater 11th and acting 12th. And I wasn't really so sure about Broadway. I thought that I was under the impression that there is a acting class that could take you to the next level, but it doesn't work
Right.
like that. You gotta graduate high school and do all that. Shout out
Right.
to my high school teacher, Mr. Batard, awesome teacher. That teacher has taught me a lot of great things, about the future of growing up, being, prepared for the future. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even consider Broadway, which is something that I want to go back to New York for is Broadway.
Okay. You're doing acting. So you've done some like live performance, like
I
indoor.
have I have actually. I've
Okay.
done 2 live performances. One which was only for like a junior class assignment, and then a year towards my senior year, I did a play called A Waitress in Yellowstone. So
Okay.
technically, this is an interesting story. So when I was in A Waitress in Yellowstone, this was like before the week after prom. So this was happening like middle of April 2016, leading to like graduation. I was only an extra
Okay.
throughout the majority of like rehearsals, and then one actor backed out who didn't want to do anything,
Right.
who didn't like taking advices. He didn't like constructive criticism.
Mhm.
He cussed out the drama teacher, cussed and just walked out and just
Wow.
basically just said, he said, is swearing allowed?
Yeah. You're all right.
All right, cool. He basically just said "fuck you" and just basically walked away.
Wow.
And then he was like figuring out who could sing, and I'm like, oh shit, me, I'll do it. I'll sing. I'll sing for the role. Like I want lines. Like I
Right.
want to play something different. And I was given the chance to play Ralph Bloom, the Magic Woodsman, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was so much fun.
Wow. Cool. So, what do you prefer more? Do you prefer live, or doing like film?
Both. Acting is acting. At the end of the day, it's all about both.
Cool. Okay. I know that there's two different beasts. You know what I mean? Like being in front of a live audience where you know that you've got to hit your lines, you have to be on point, and
Yeah.
then obviously in film, you get to um, do retakes and
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I love the opportunity of being given the chance to be the character.
right,
And wherever I perform, um, it's all about what the audience
right.
wants to see, and it's our duty as talent to bring that emotion, bring all of the nuance out there for the actors, for the audiences to see.
Cool. So let me ask you, whenever like to be able to do live and do film, does the fact that you do live, does that help when you do film to like be able to nail things, and be able to get your lines down? I mean,
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, brother, when I was in drama class, seeing a lot of things from my teacher
right,
talking about, how to deliver a good performance has taught me a lot. And when he was talking a lot about his love for film, like pre 60s films,
right,
because we had like he was kind of like a laid back, like to that like Beatles era kind of teacher.
Right.
So
Right.
like the more he talks about like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, one time he talks about that. I want to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Right.
He talks a lot about these great hits that came out in the theaters, and I kind of want to watch it. And I was blown away by it. So when you get a lot of advices from the theater side, it kind of does give you a sit back and just like think about it. You know, it gives you a good amount of tips for acting on camera.
Right. Cool. So now, how long have you been doing the acting?
Acting, I've been acting in my own projects. I've been acting in my own projects since 2013. However, I've been acting outside of my own projects since 2017.
Okay. Um, to this point, what do you think has been your the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Well, the biggest lesson about acting, and you know, if we're talking about like everything as a whole, like filmmaking,
Right.
like acting, directing, is that you can't satisfy everybody.
Right.
You know, you can't satisfy everybody and just expect that everyone is going to support you. It's a shame that you know we want to make everybody feel amazed by it,
Right.
but it's impossible, you know, because there's always going to be that amount of you know hate and negative people, and you know you just got to focus on the people that will support you, and you know
Right.
one thing I can learn is that you know when you're making something, there's going to be pros and cons. There's always going to be you know the easiest things, the harder things, the good, the bad, the ugly. But at the end of the day, it's what makes us humans, what makes us a team. You know, we make
Right.
films together, we caught these issues, and we learn how to take those issues from the past and turn it
Right.
into making something better. And on the top of that, there's also um, what do you call it? There's also you know great things too.
Right.
You're gonna make people happy. You know,
Right.
you're gonna make people happy. You're gonna make people unsatisfied, but you got to focus on the people that you made happy because when you make films, you're opening yourself to a possibility of more connections.
You know what? That brings me into this, my next question. Criticism. You know, whenever people
Yeah.
do, you know, you're in the spotlight, spotlight
Hmm.
like this, um, and you know, see the comments after you know you posted either a film you've done, it's like you've acted in, or maybe one that you directed in, and you see negative comments. How do you deal with that? How do you handle, um, you know, any kind of like negative comments or negative? I don't say press, but um, you know, when people see it, they try to respond negatively. How do you deal with that?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's obviously you know the most easiest question to answer.
Mm.
Um, well, first things first, you know, there's really nothing you can do.
Right,
When there's criticism, you're always going to get criticism from anything you do, because you know you're making something, and people are going to watch it.
right,
When I the best way is you know read the criticisms, respond professionally.
right,
If it's constructive criticism,
right,
absolutely, you know, acknowledge it, listen to it, and maybe, you know, you don't have to take it, but you
right,
can like, you know, acknowledge it and then maybe, you know, hopefully in you know, one day you'll open your mind and realize that criticism is helpful.
right.
Some constructive criticisms aren't always helpful, you know. The biggest mistake to not do in constructive criticism is start getting defensive and fire back, you know,
Right.
because I made that mistake before. You know,
Mm.
when I started making movies when I was about 14 years old,
Right.
and when I was looking at all these constructive criticisms, most of them were just negative comments and hateful comments. And you know,
Right.
I'm s- I was so like I was so bad at how I handled constructive criticisms
Right.
looking
Well, you're
back,
14. That's
well,
pretty
yeah,
young.
I mean,
You
I
have
mean,
to know something like that.
right.
Right.
But then, I mean, when I get a
Right.
little older, yeah, I
Yeah.
start to, have a hard time, accepting it. But it's the reality,
Right.
it's all about maturing. You got to mature, you got to evolve, and take those constructive criticisms as like a
Right.
good thing. There are three types of criticism. There are the people who care and they give you advices on how to succeed.
Right.
Um, there's also people who are just negative and
Right.
downright assholes,
Right.
which isn't constructive criticism.
Right.
Um, you'll get people that says shit sucks. For example,
Right.
like I've had one person who say to me, "My shit sucks," and I realized that person's also in the industry too. And it's like
Right.
you can't do that. You just can't say that because how would you like if somebody says that to your work? You
Right.
know, I've done it to people too, but it really gets me nowhere. Because
Yeah.
constructive criticism is the best way to go. Being
Right.
hateful and saying that their project sucks isn't the
Right.
answer to go. I've done that before, and it does nothing. It does no good. And no filmmaker starting out should ever handle it that way.
Right.
Because we're all in the business, we're all in the industry. We all work hard. We all make a project that isn't good on the first cut or the first debut, but then the second debut it'll get better.
Right.
Best way is to just listen. Oh yeah, I almost forgot the third type of constructive criticism.
Mhm.
Um, People who claim that they care but they don't care. You
Right.
know, that's all there is.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of like narcissism. They talk about, oh, I this and that and this and that. It's like, I don't know. There's always three. I view it constructive criticism as like three types of things.
Right.
It's about, there's people who care, there's people who act like they care but they don't care, and then there's just negative people.
Right.
Um,
I had a friend on that he used to be a sports writer, and he said that the way he looked at it was he always looked at the source because at the beginning when he would do his articles he would get a lot of people that would come in. He said you could get, I don't know, 1,000 people praising what you're doing, and you get one person with that negative comment, and that used
yeah.
to really bother him. But as he got older he started realizing you have to look at the source of who that person is. He said he has a circle of people that he considers his friends, and their opinion matters. And then there's just people who are acquaintances or people who he doesn't know at all. So things that they say that don't know, doesn't that criticize him or whatever, and they don't personally know him. He said that their opinion held less weight.
Mhm.
So if it's criticism coming from somebody he knows, it's in his close circle, then it's something that he takes to heart. You know what I mean? But if it's somebody that he doesn't know or something not close to him, he's like he had to learn that opinion doesn't apply to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean, and
Yeah.
the thing, and I get where he's coming from because you
Yeah.
put a lot of you work so hard, you put a lot of hard work and effort into your own material and your project, and when you get someone who's like very harsh on you but is trying to
Right.
care, it's like you don't want that. You just want good
Right.
feedback, but the reality is you're not always going to get good feedback.
Right.
You just can't satisfy everybody.
Right. So let me ask you this: so if somebody's trying to get into the industry, either into acting or filmmaking, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give them?
To anyone who wants to network, right?
Right. Well, that wants to get into the industry. Someone who's starting fresh is like, hey, you know what? I want to be an actor or a filmmaker. What's the biggest advice you would give them coming out the gate?
Go to film festivals.
Okay.
You take a picture that isn't. If you're applying for roles, join as many Facebook groups as you can. Join Backstage as well. It's pricey, but if you join Backstage, it will help you so much. Um, if you have any pictures of yourself that you took on your phone, it doesn't have to be a professional headshot, but it can always be a photo. You know,
Okay.
iPhones look really good at capturing headshots too,
Right.
but you also want a professional headshot. So,
Right.
save money, get a professional photographer to do headshots, and, make that work. Go to film festivals, meet people, um, do monologues, do some monologues, record yourself doing monologues. It's also going to be very helpful too.
Okay.
And if you want to be a filmmaker, same thing, make something with your friends first, because that's how I started. I make stuff with my friends, and that's about it. And if you make a mistake as a filmmaker, it's okay. It's okay if if you made a project where you create drama, it's okay.
Right.
What matters the most is that acknowledge it and do better, because that's
Right.
all about self improvement too. Um, keep growing. It's all about growing. It's all about evolving and just showing the world that you are a team player.
Right. Are you familiar with Bobby Washington?
I
You
am
met-
familiar with Bobby
Yeah.
Washington. I haven't
So
met Bobby Washington, but I've seen the movie he put out, Seven Roses, on Tubi.
right. So like Bobby kind of started that way. He started, you know, doing film. He said that from his first film, I think it was Schizo was the first one.
Okay.
Well, he did another one before Schizo, but Schizo I think is the first one they got on Tubi. But he started, he put the film out, and then he tried to learn from what the things that he felt on that film, and try to build on it, like audio. He said that he
Right.
didn't take audio as serious in the first film, so he started, working on audio. And then, there's other, as he got to Seven Roses, there's different aspects that he tried to make better each film that he did. So yeah, because I can see where you're coming from. The other thing too, that you said too, is about the monologue. Creating demos and monologues. One of the good things that happened, since the pandemic is there's tons of technology out there where in go and record, like and it's a lot easier, it's a lot more accessible than it used to be, and then also getting those monologues out to people that you're trying to pitch, to get work from. If you want to be an actor on a set or whatever, you have more. There's more technology and more ways available of getting those demos out. And it reminds me of Jonathan Montez whenever he auditioned for Seven Roses. Yeah, Bobby called Jonathan up, and Jonathan was at a airport, and he's like, "Hey, can you just audition right now?" So he like auditioned on the phone, for Seven Roses. So yeah, I think that's great. That's a great advice.
Yeah, I mean, dude, monologues are the way to go. They're part of
Right.
like the way to go.
So as a filmmaker, what's kind of your process to getting an actors for your for the roles on your films?
Well, the process of that is I just put up a casting call.
Okay.
Um, I just basically put up a casting call on Facebook. I can't afford to do backstage at the moment, so like I'm always looking to hire new talent. Sometimes collaborations are amazing. I love collaborating with actors, but I also love to work with new people I've never worked with before.
Right.
Jonathan Montez and I, no, we've worked together on four movies. Um, A Broken Flaw of Marriage, The Junior Squad 2 and 3, and The Last Bounty. And he is amazing to work with.
Right.
He is incredible. He's a great guy. We talk over the phone for an hour and a half. We can go on an hour and a half, and we talk about so many great things. We talk about life, we talk about filmmaking, we talk about
Right.
positive energy, and he talks to me about your, you're like a bro to me. You're
Right.
like a little brother to me, and he's such a sweet guy. And
Right.
I he's one of my favorite actors I've worked with. Everybody I've worked with, has been so great.
Yeah.
Um,
We
yeah,
definitely love Jonathan Montez on our show. So,
yeah,
you'll see he's been on a couple of times, and yeah, I love having him on. He's such a humble and positive, person. So, yeah, it's we love having him on, and I got to get him on again. We haven't. It's been a while since he's been on, so I'm gonna have
yeah.
to reach out. And he's so busy too. I mean, every time I turn around, he's putting out a new film.
Absolutely. It's hard to get him in another movie because, his schedule is getting more busier every once in a while.
Right,
Um, Jonathan, when he plays a villain named Diablo in the Junior Squad 2 and 3. 2 is almost done with post production. Junior Squad Strikes Again will be playing at T Buff in December. Um, if it gets selected.
right,
Um, that film was a lot to make. That was a great experience to make. Jonathan has he poured his soul into the role of Diablo, and he's just
wow,
incredible to work with. Chris D as well. Chris D is amazing. I love working with Chris D. He's a great actor and a very humble guy.
yeah. So those are and then we have Heather's been on. The really love working with Heather, Joe Fame,
Yeah, Joe Fame's amazing. I like Joe.
so
I haven't worked on any projects with Joe,
okay.
but if Joe gives me the opportunity, I mean, I don't mind working with him on a project. But Joe has worked with me before as like to help out for a little bit, but he's really cool. I'm going to his Fear Fame Festival. I'm going there.
Okay. Yeah, we just talked to him about the fair fame. Yeah, they got the
Oh,
27 films coming up. That sounds like
yeah.
it's gonna be a total blast out there.
Is he inviting you to go there?
Yeah, they want me to come out. Him and Heather asked me to come out, but I'm in Texas, so uh, yeah.
Oh.
So Bobby invited me to come out to Seven Roses when they did the premiere. So at some point, I'm gonna have to take a trip out there and hit one of the premieres of one of these shows. So I'm actually
Cool.
doing my first premiere for a show next week here in Texas. So
Okay.
yeah, I finally got one that's here at home, so I get to go see. Um,
Awesome.
so that's gonna be a lot of fun. But uh, yeah, I mean, how many people out there, in Florida, you guys out there in Florida, you guys are crazy because you guys are always cranking out stuff out there.
I mean, Florida, I see a lot of people post their stuff, in the industry. I mean, I'm stepping out a little bit because, I've made too many movies and I just want to act in more movies, honestly. Directing is something that it's a lot. It's a lot.
Right.
I haven't had a break in a while. So COVID was the perfect break for me, but
Mm,
then it didn't, when was it when Florida was reopened,
right.
that's when I was like, I can't. I gotta keep making movies.
Cool. So let's talk about some of your projects.
Sure.
I saw that you had a film called Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the projects you've done, and then that you've acted in. So if, somebody's wanting to go see some of them, and some that you've produced.
Okay. Well, producing, I've only done one movie.
Okay.
That was Shattered Paradise.
Okay.
That was fun. That was pretty fun.
Right.
That was more of a abuse thriller, a feature film that we shot. We had 3 nominations at T-Buff,
Oh wow.
actor, actress, and floor film. That was um, difficult to make because I've never produced a film in it before, but it was a great experience to help out with the director, and it was a step. It was a first step. It was his first movie too. I only did it for a friend.
Okay.
Dead or Alive, however, that is the recent short film that I've been shooting. I haven't done I haven't done a short film since 2019.
Okay.
I've done mostly feature films. So the fact that I wanted to make a short film in the woods that's
Right.
all about a war film is just amazing, and it was such a great experience. The
Right.
cast and crew were so supportive and amazing and professional that they reached out to me, congratulating me so much, and I got a little teary a little bit. I got a little
Right.
teary because to make a film that was so easy to make,
Right.
and you have a lot of great amount of tremendous support. It just means the world to me. It's
Cool.
a war. The plot of the film is just about two soldiers on a mission that are being told to go home, and then
Mm.
cartels are coming.
Oh,
So it becomes a survival movie, and it was fun to make. The actress in this movie is Chelsea Luna. She is incredible to work with. Um, when you see her in the film as a soldier, you are seeing nuance. You're seeing real pain.
wow.
She brings so much to the table. Everybody brings their A game to the table. They were all method acting on set.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So, what about some of the films that you acted in?
The recent film I've acted in was Alma,
Okay.
uh, directed by Cookie Reyes, Iris. She's amazing to work with. This was her first debut
Yeah.
as a director. She has never directed films before. She has done script supervisor, AD, mainly the majority of crew work for the film. She did
Right.
script supervisor for The Last Bounty, a film that for my film back in 2020,
Right.
and she's amazing. She's amazing to work with. She's involved with Fear Fame as well.
Okay.
Um, Being on set, it was a long shoot.
Right.
My scene didn't start till 5 a.m.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, it was a cool Airbnb. The Airbnb was awesome. I want to sleep, but I can't sleep because it's like then you're gonna miss your scene.
Right.
So
Right.
so yeah, I waited till 5 a.m. and I mean I would have gone out to party that night and then come back on set, but
Right.
again, you never know. You gotta pay attention to your scenes because you might miss it.
Right.
So it was a small scene. To act in that film was amazing. It was an honor to work with her, and her film is going to be showcased at the Tampa Bay Latin International Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
No wait, no, it's Tampa Bay Latin Film Festival or International. It's going to be showcasing at St. Pete on September 16th from
Okay.
4 to
Cool.
8 p.m. It's going to be part of the Shorts program.
Okay.
Um, Very cool to work with. Before I have a new film that I'm acting in, which is shooting Wednesday. Um, the title of the film is called Bright Lights,
Okay.
directed by Erica Maldonado. She's very awesome. I met her at Gasparilla. She's incredible to work with. Um, my girlfriend Cora Yanku and I
Mm.
are going to be working together on that one as the couple, and it's going to be amazing.
Cool. And there's so many, actors and directors coming out of that area. It's just incredible. I mean, I've like I said, I've interviewed a ton of you guys out there, and it's just cool to see that community, be able to come together and work on, all these different projects together.
Yeah, it's great that there are still people out there who care about your craft and want to see you
Right.
succeed. Again, going back to when I was talking about constructive criticism and the
Right.
three kinds of constructive criticism, there are people, you know, one of them I mentioned was there are people who act like they care but they don't care.
Right.
But there are still people who act like they care but they don't care. But
Right.
there are people who do care,
Right.
and it's good to see that there are more artists out there that care and have a lot of like heart. We
Right.
need more people like that. We
Right.
just need more people with kindness.
Cool. So let me ask you this: if somebody wants to follow you and see some of your shows and see what you're, some of the stuff that you currently worked on, and some of the things that you're involved in now, how would they? What's the best way for them to follow you?
Well, they're always welcome to reach out to me at my Facebook, of course. That's number one. Number
Okay.
two, I do have Instagram under the name right there.
Okay.
I mean, I'm always willing to, send out information about when my films are premiering, and they're welcome to come. It's not free, of course,
Right.
but yeah, they're invited to come and see my films. Um,
Awesome, man.
yeah.
Well, cool. So what we'll do is in the comment field in the detail section in our YouTube, we'll put your all your social media handles on there.
Sure.
People
Awesome,
can
man.
check it out.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you, man, so much for taking time out. I know we've been trying to work on this. My
Yeah,
schedule's
man.
been crazy. I apologize. I definitely wanted to get you in and uh, get to know you and more of what you're doing. So
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me. If there's a message I like to say to everybody,
good.
watching,
Mhm.
I like to say that, count your blessings every day and be
Right.
thankful that, you're alive.
Right.
If you're going through a very hard day, just know that tomorrow's a better day.
Right.
And that, there's always going to be, nasty people out there who will put you down and do anything to not be in your life. But there are also good people out there who believe in change and
Right.
chances, and they give you um, the kind of love that you need. And we all
Right.
need that kind of love in this world, man. That's all
Exactly.
there is.
So yeah, and like that's like kind of what our show is about. Want to get new artists out there, just anybody who's it's not just even actors and stuff. We have other people come in, but um, you know with everything that's going on with the media, everybody trying to be to divide us. That's the whole reason I did the show is so I can bring people together, and
Yeah,
people
man.
can get to meet each other and see that we have more in common than we have that divide us if we sit down and just get to know each other. So yeah, so again I want to thank you. I apologize, my schedule's been so crazy, but thanks for working with me on that.
No,
But
of
yeah,
course. No,
so
no problem, brother. Again, I'm really happy that I got a chance to be a part of your podcast. I'm really happy that you let me know because it's been a while since I haven't been on the podcast, and
right,
I love to talk more about film and talk great things with people, I would love to come back on your podcast again if you want to invite me back in.
definitely, we'll definitely have you back on, and like when Chris first started, he had just started doing film when I first met Chris.
Yeah,
So and then Chris has been like a big, and like I say, he's a big supporter. So shout out to my boy Chris, Christy Roberts. Go check him out. Go check out his site. But yeah, he's been huge, and we've gotten to see him grow and see all the projects that he's done since then. And so same thing for you, man. Same invite. As you progress and the more you do, and we'll definitely bring you in. Anytime you have a
awesome,
project, you're like, hey, I want to showcase this project or try to get the word out or whatever. Don't be afraid to hit me up, man. Hit me up and we'll get in and we'll help you promote it.
awesome,
Cool.
awesome.
All right, brother. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much, man, for joining us. Like I said, I love being able to sit down and meet new people and make new friends. So, it's just awesome. So until the next episode, remember, you are uniquely designed with a purpose, and always keep moving forward. Peace.